New year, we desire to do better. And to help us to do better, we must implement discipline. You know, this month, this time of year, we like to try to start afresh. And we're very hopeful. And all of that is wonderful and good. And I just would like to encourage you. I'm not going to keep ding-donging on it, but I just trust and I hope that you're using your weekly, monthly calendars that someone wanted you to have. I've done pretty good. A lot of times I know that it can be a hassle every time you spend some money, disposable income, writing it down. But what I do, I just keep all my receipts. I used to wouldn't get, even when I get gas, I don't want a receipt. But then I started remembering, I said, no, get the receipts. Because what that does is, that's a part of discipline. See, it is wonderful to plan, and really we need to plan. And a lot of times we don't reach our goals because we don't plan. But planning is not enough. You've got to be disciplined, not only to the plan, but we've got to be disciplined in realizing that we are not going to complete everything in a month. A year has 12 months. And often we start out ablaze. And this thing is not it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We got to remember that. It's a marathon. And I know, in the beginning, everybody's excited. We made it another year. And we're full of hope, and that's good. And let's keep that hope. Just put a log on that hope fire. Don't get it blazing too high. But just kind of learn how to bank it, because during the course of the year, different things are going to happen that are going to try to douse that fire. And that's for all of us. This is going to be a very, very, very interesting year, 2024. A very interesting year. For a lot of us individually, for a lot of us collectively. Industries may change this year. Secure situations, so we thought, may change this year. Shaky situations may gain some stability. Of course, our hope is that none of us have devastating change this year. But we don't know what awaits us in the coming months. And there'll be a lot of voices wanting to give you information. And, we'll all be challenged as to what to listen to, who to listen to, and who to be polite, but dismiss most of what you're hearing. We've already agreed that this year, regardless of whether you vote or you don't vote, or who you vote for, We're not going to fight with one another. We agreed to that last year because we knew this year was coming. And because this is an election year, and I'm not making this a political thing, I do want to say to you that there is grant money available for individuals and for businesses. Go to grant.com, I think, and I'm going to have some other sites you can go to. There are even grants that will help you repair your roof. And you don't need a grant writer to do this. And it's free money now. You know, a grant, and I'm very cautious about using that word free because we all know really nothing's really free. But grants you don't have to pay back. But you do have to use the funds for what the grant was written for. There are grants for, how did they say it? Lower, middle class, you know, people that are really having a hard time financially. And there are agencies and businesses that will help you write the grant, but they're not going to do it for free. You yourself can do this. And because of the nature of things getting ready to happen this year, I would suggest that you look into that because, like I said, there are grants for businesses, there are grants for individuals. There are grants for people that you might be running cheerleading is a big thing. There are grants for that. I'm going to see if there are any grants for churches. It might be, but I'm going to look into that. During election years, there's a lot of money available. And a lot of times we don't know about it. And I follow a lot of finance guys, not just, to hear the same thing over and over again, but a lot of them seem to know where there's always funding. And I do want you to write this name down, Clark Howard. Clark Howard. Look him up. He's a Ralph Nader type, and some of you are too young to know who Ralph Nader was, but Ralph Nader was an advocate for the everyday person. He would do surveys on different companies, test their products. In fact, he once ran for president. But this guy, Clark Howard, he's got a bunch of ways that you can save money. I know a lot of us have sticker shock on our insurance renewals, homeowners, auto, things of this nature. He talks about that a lot, and he's got a lot of good information. And the thing I like about him most is most of what he talks about, he's done it. Most of you remember that was the way Pastor was. Before he would share something with the congregation, he would use it first, And I like that about this gentleman, Clark Howard. What does all of this have to do with discipline? Well, everything, actually. Because if we're going to be successful for this year, and when I say successful, I'm not just talking about the accumulation of getting more stuff, because as I've shared with you before, most of us, the majority of us are at an age now where we just about everything that we wanted, we either have access to it or we got it. And for a lot of us, a lot of what we're receiving is a duplicate, maybe a triplicate, or even more. And what happens is you find out that's just one more thing you got to dust. Don't mean that you don't like it and you didn't appreciate it. You do, but you get to a point where you just look around and you just say, I got too much stuff. And I remember one of my goals in my young, dumb years, I had a goal. I wanted to have 365 suits. That was my goal. I wanted 365 suits. And I was right proud of that goal until I told my dad that's what I wanted to do. I want to get 365 suits. And of course, he didn't smile when I said that, so I knew then I was in trouble. And he said to me, boy, he said, that's a sin. I said, what? How is that a sin? He said, what are you going to do with 365 suits? I said, wear one a day so that I don't ever have to wear the same thing. He just shook his head. He didn't say anything, He didn't say any more, but I knew then that was not a good goal. So, I didn't say any more about it. But some of you know I, at one time, I got a little clothing store, Wall Street Clothing. And I've always enjoyed that. And I used to go out to Vegas and go to the shows, because all the major manufacturers would come out there and they would show what's new for the year. And I was really into that big time. But what Pop did say, he said, you could help a whole lot of people if you didn't have 365 suits. He said, now, but you'll be looking good. But he said, Barry, why? And then, you start feeling smaller and smaller. Because he wasn't mean with it, That wasn't his style, So I don't know. I didn't even get close to 100, but I had right many, and I'd given up on that goal. I mean, after you thought about it, it was kind of crazy. But before I gave up on it, I kind of went at it kind of hard. I could justify, well, hey, I got to go to work, I got to do this, and I started making all of these reasons why I needed to have a certain presentation because of the position at that time that I had, so I'm saying that to say, folks, that a lot of times we kind of start justifying some things, and sometimes that justification can get you in trouble. And in this coming year, like I said, there's going to be a lot of voices coming in, and a lot of us are going to get confused about some things. In fact, some of us are confused about some things now because some of us already have an idea about certain people, certain individuals. But I'm here to tell you, stay disciplined, stay focused. Don't get sidetracked by a lot of stuff that's definitely in social media and what's going to be coming out on the main street media, the main media giants. You know, like I said, I watch a lot of the finance guys, and I'm always looking for information that I can pass on and that will help all of us learn to kind of hold on to some of our disposable income. And I do hope that you will use those calendars. And I think we'll be surprised at the type of spending that we do. Now, some of us may prove that we're pretty good, not saying you're not a good steward, but you're pretty good at when you spend, how you spend. And I'm not telling you not to spend, but I am saying when you spend, please make sure you're getting some value. Make sure you're getting value for your hard-earned money. And if you came into some money and you didn't work hard for it, the person that gave it to you probably worked very hard for it. What do we do? There's so many voices, and everybody in what we call Christendom would have you think that whatever it is that they're sharing comes from the very throne of the Most High. And I'll say to you today, saints, even be careful about them as well. I'm not attacking anybody because 2024, we don't really have time for getting in arguments with other believers. We really don't. But there are going to be a lot of people that want you to hear what it is that they have to say so that they can, I guess, influence you to do a certain thing or don't do a certain thing. And I'm gonna share with you the main thing that we can all do, and I know I have to do it because when you make yourself available to a lot of people because you don't want to give off the impression that I'm too busy to talk to you, or I'm too important to talk to you, or you're not on my level. You know, you hear all of these kind of sayings that people espouse. And a lot of it, folks, is just hot air. But believers in 2024 the main thing we can do, and some people have already stated that we have to remember that the Most High said this. You know, in Deuteronomy, he said, if you do this, it'll go well with you. And if you do likewise, it won't go well with you so well. But he said something that all of us know. What is it? If my people that are called by my name, if my people, if the believers that say, I love you, Lord, I love God, I love, if they, he didn't say the others, he didn't talk about the agnostics, he didn't talk about the others, he didn't talk about the wackos, the confused people. I need to be kind, but there are a lot of confused people that want to be heard. Society is now saying, we know how to run the world better. We don't want to do things your way. And then, it's getting so now, all kind of accusations are coming up about a lot of people in God and not in God. This list coming out that's supposed to have some so-called prominent people on it, with this gentleman that killed himself. And, some of the people that have been before you, not here in the church, but on the major networks, I don't know, some people are probably very nervous. But folks, we shouldn't even care about that kind of stuff. We really shouldn't. And same thing with our entertainment people. We get caught up in that stuff. And again, listen, I like jazz music. And I have some favorite jazz artists. But I don't really need to know that he and his wife are getting a divorce. How many dollars is that going to put in my pocket? So why do we run to that kind of stuff? Don't do that. Don't spend your time reading about somebody else's demise. We got entertainers going against one another. Can't you see? Stuff's getting crazy. I like sports. Now you can't even turn on it to see the game, and after the game they interview people, and the players are arguing with one another. Players getting suspended. There was a football player that made a comment about an entertainer being on that list, and now the entertainer want to sue the football player. It's crazy. It's crazy out there. And all of this is coming about because it's trying to get you to not be disciplined in 2024. Now, if you don't want to use the book, you don't have to use the book. I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm not going to talk about you. Now, I might say something to the Most High, but I'm not going to talk about you, because I know He's going to get me for talking bad about you. And I got enough to deal with about me. But I'm bringing this out to you because there is so much unuseful information coming at you all the time. All the time. And in 2024, if we're going to do better, let's take a break from some of this technology. Nope, I'm not coming against nobody. Nowadays, we got to have a phone. You know, we get a flat tire or run out of gas. We need to call somebody. So I understand that. But you know, I occasionally I'll pick up one of the fellas when we go in there, and we hardly say 2 words, and they on their phone. And I know the young people, not all of them, some of the young people, I think they rather text than talk. But see, that's hurting. See, one day it's going to get back to where when you want a job or you want a position or you want something, you're going to have to talk face to face with somebody. And I just use that as an example. I had asked in times previous about this subscription thing. I asked, do you own the music that you download? See, once I buy a CD or I get a DVD, that's mine. Now, I know, I ain't gonna call Greg's name, and I ain't gonna call, I ain't gonna call Curry's name neither. But, and there was a couple of others, but I'm gonna spare them, because they know I love them, and I'm just kidding, and they're right. I do need to get more adept at how to use the technology. But I tell you folks, if you really think about it, are we using the technology or is the technology using us? Think about that for a minute. When you get up in the morning, I know most of you, when you get up, you know, first thing you do, you pray. Call those things that be not as though they were. But for a lot of us, first thing we do, we grab our phone. Well, wait a minute. You just had a good night's sleep. What is so important that that's the first thing we grab for? And if we don't do that, we're going to turn on the TV. Some of us fall asleep with the TV. You know? And with the advent of artificial intelligence, it's going to another level. What is it? Chat GPT and AI. Listen, they're getting so good, after a while, they could have somebody that looked just like Alan standing up talking about he don't like playing gospel music. And if you see it with your eyes, you say, wait a minute, I know Alan. That was Alan. People getting caught doing stuff, and you know what they're saying? That wasn't me. That's the new defense. That wasn't me. That's artificial intelligence. And again, I'm not in the Elon Musk camp. He says eventually one day, I guess the robot's going to take over. I'm not saying that, but I am saying when we are always in pursuit of our phone, our TV, things, we bring them to life. And again, I'm not trying, the way things have gone, we need the technology now. But I caution you about this. Listen, some of the stuff is going to make us lazy. It's going, you don't want to, if you want something to eat and you don't want to cook, get on your phone. Give me two hot dogs and a strawberry soda. That's off Johnny Guitar Watts and A Real Mother for you. Some of y'all don't even know who that was. But see, we gotta watch convenience. We got to, now again, I'm not against technology, but I'm saying, watch what it's doing to you. Watch what it's doing to you. In this year, 2024, let's spend more time speaking face to face. Let's try anyway. Let's try. I got a secondary family member. Yeah, he's a deacon at his church. And he admitted to me, he said, man, let me tell you, I know a lot of people didn't like that pandemic, but man, it ain't nothing like rolling over, getting a bowl of whatever he liked, oatmeal or whatever, and watching the church service at home. And he know he can say that to me because if it was up to me, I'd be right there with him. But, of course, his mother just thinks that's horrible, you know, and she'll get on him and say, boy, you better get on in there. And he'll go, but see, listen, it's easier to want to come to the aid of a brother or sister when you can see them. When you don't see them, and all of a sudden you get a phone call, and I'm there, Donnie, I need $1,000 by next Wednesday. Now, Donnie ain't seen me in 4 months. Why would I expect him to come through? Just because we go to the same church? See, I'm trying to show you all something about how we listen. We are not going to take one another for granted in 2024. We're going to understand that when we have to come to one another, it's a real situation. We're going to stop finessing one another. We're going to stop that this year. I've noticed Yah is opening up some things because I've been complaining and whining and complaining and whining. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, hold it. If you want me to do this, what about this? What about this? What about this? And when I finally stopped whining, things begin to happen. See, things happen for Donnie, and things are happening for me to where my time is being freed up. And I'm like, well, now, I still got to live. But Yah moves in his time. And a lot of times we as believers, we get impatient. And when we get impatient, some of us, when we get impatient, we do stuff anyway. And then it blow up in our face. And why did this happen to me? Because you got above your skis. For some of us, being patient is very hard, but you're going to have to be patient this year. You're going to have to be patient in your discipline. Not you. We're going to have to be patient even in being disciplined. If my people that are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my face. Then he says something that most of us, it just kind of, we say it, but we don't really think we got wicked ways. We do have wicked ways. We which includes me, got wicked ways. Oh, not me. Man, I sing like a nightingale. Oh, so what? What about the other stuff that's kind of cruddy in your life? What about that? Man, I can preach a house of fire. So what? Are you a man or a person of integrity? Can people count on it when you say something? Is it real? He said, humble themselves and pray and seek my face, not my hand. Seek my face, not so much my hand. See, the church system has taught us how to go after his hand. Give me, Lord, my name Jimmy. I'll take all you give me. That's the way we pray. We always want stuff, but we forgot to whom much is given, much is required. Oh, I want to say something so bad, but I want to stay on good terms with everybody. To whom much is given, much is required. To whom much is given, much is required. We want the stuff, but we don't want the responsibility. We want the stuff, we don't want the accountability. Well, what you want the stuff for? The more that you acquire, the more that is required of you. Of us. What is this thing? Diversity, equality, inclusion. That thing tricked me when I first heard it, because when I first heard it, I thought it was a good thing. Until, as always, upon further review, not so a good thing. In fact, I better stop because I'm not trying to get, don't they flag you or something on when you're streaming? See, and that's another thing. You got to even be careful about what you say when you're streaming. That's why, I'm glad to say by the end of this month, we're going to go back to Wednesday get together. And that ain't going to be streamed. And I have some things that I would really like to share. And I would be happy to answer any kind of questions some of you may have about life issues. I'm not talking about church issues. We're going to study scripture, yeah, we're going to get into that too. But we're going to talk about life issues. See, because in 2024, we've got to reconnect from the disconnect. What am I talking about? I have said for years, how can people that study so much make the kind of personal life decisions that they make? The word that you're studying, you're supposed to implement it in your life. Don't study it like you're studying a subject. It's not like history or English or trigonometry or algebra. It's a way of life. Thank you, Danny, but I'm doing this. Seriously. Seriously. And I'm not saying that, I'm not making that statement in judgment, because when I mess up, I'm like, wait, I knew better. How? What? There's a disconnect. We've got to make better decisions. We've got to make better choices this year. We've got to. I'm going to tell you something. I hope I'm wrong, but economically speaking, And I'm going to say this. I don't care if it is being streamed. I wouldn't want to be nowhere else but here with what may be coming down the pipe. Because a lot of other places going to find out all that hugging and air kissing. When it come down for real help, for real situations, it ain't there. It ain't there. And that's not the time when you want to find out the person you thought that was with you ain't with you. You don't want that kind of surprise this year. You want to know, come hell or high water, that people are with you for real. And I'm not mad. I'm just kind of fired up. If my people that are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my face, not my hand, not my hand, not my hand. You know, a lot of us, we just, And listen, me saying that, just the same guy that talking about that he won 365 suits. We always want stuff from him. We always want stuff from him. And you know, this may surprise us. He don't mind giving us stuff, but you know what? Is it possible he might want something from us? He might want something from us in return. You know, a good relationship flows. A real good relationship, it just flows. It's like drinking a glass of water. And it's not, that's another thing. We can go over this Wednesday night. It's not 50-50. It's not 50-50, folks. I know it's a lot of stuff on the internet. Some of the guys, you know, but we can talk about that on Wednesday, saying, well, we're going to have to go 50-50. And then you got some brothers say, well, no, the man's supposed to pay for everything. Then you got some calling the guy that say you're supposed to pay for everything, they calling him a simp. And I'm like, man, golly, this is crazy out here. But see, I have to watch these things because I need to find out what's going on with the young people. I mean, I know we got Donnie here, and I know he on it, but I need to know some stuff too because it's a lot of stuff like this term 304. We can talk about that on Wednesdays. But I was like, what's a 304? Well, I found out what a 304 is. I was like, good gracious. I mean, us old fellas, it's a whole new deal out there. It's different out there. Young people have more negative stuff coming at them than we ever had. And so now that kind of explains why they make some of the decisions that they make. But my hope and my prayer is that they don't do what my generation did. I don't want that for them. I hope they choose better. I hope they make better decisions. That's what I want. If my people that are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, what? Then I will hear from heaven, forgive them their sins, and heal their land. Jonathan Butler wrote that song, Heal the Land. No, we don't have it. I wish we did have it. I got the CD, though. But see, I'm not saying that just for America. This is for worldwide. This is for creation-wide. What I just shared is for creation-wide, not just those. Let me stop. I'm glad I live in the United States. Let me say that. With all of the turmoil, with all of the problems, with all of society saying we're going to do this way, we're going to pass laws, and we're going to do this and do that, and a person can call themselves whatever they want to call, and I'm telling you, some more weird stuff is coming down the pike. And folks, I'm going to share this too. When you're listening to the news and everything, have you noticed there's been more of the phrase used when you hear people of color? Do a little research on that. They're not always talking about people with my hue. See, it's so much, folks, it's so much stuff going on, and another okie doke is coming. Another okie doke is coming. And I'm not saying something racial. But we've got to be more astute in 2024. We got to make our money go further. And no, it ain't just about money. It's about the way we think. It's about the way we live, the way we love. You know, there are some of you that I want to approach this year about something, and I'm, what are you supposed to say? Oh, yeah, I'm in church. I'm going to pray about it, and if the Lord lead, I want to talk with some people about something that's pretty serious. Because again, like I'm saying, I don't want anybody to make the mistakes I made. I don't. I love you that much. But I'm not going to pry. I'm not going to push. And if you don't want to talk about it, you say, just say this, Pastor. I prefer you just call me Barry, but, you know, I know we've been trained. Pastor, that's none of your business. And I'm going to say, you know what? You're right. And I'm not going to have an attitude. I'm not going to have an attitude. But if on by chance, you say, hey, I tell you what, you done made me mad plenty of times, but you know what? I'll at least hear you out. Now we can get somewhere. See, I want to be real this year. I'm tired of playing church, and I'm bored with, well, doesn't matter. I just want to be real this year because we're gonna need to be real with each other. And we're gonna purpose it in our hearts to stop doing little irritating things to one another. And then giving that church smile. I love you. We're not going to do that anymore. Because we don't know who's going to need who and how we going to handle situations. And I'm going to tell you, ain't but 8 minutes, and I'm gonna close. You know, I think one thing we all can at least be honest about, everybody in here wants to feel like they matter to somebody. Everybody in here want to feel like they matter to somebody. Now, I know a lot of people think, you know, they self-made and they this and they that. I'm like, that's hogwash. That's hogwash. You know, you think about really driven, successful people, hard charging, hard driving. Well, you know, I just did this for myself. I don't need anybody. Yes, you do. Well, because, let me ask you just one simple question. Why did you do all of what you did? the way he set it up, people need people. Even if you got a successful business, you can't run that whole business by yourself. To scale, it's going to take other people. You can't even start a family by yourself. I had a conversation with a person one time, and they said something, and I'm like, well, you act like you did all this by yourself. The only one I know that had somebody without the help of a man was Jesus' mother. People, listen, folks, philosophies are being shared and people are grabbing a hold of it, and it's taking them away from Torah, and they don't even know it. Taking them away from Torah. They think they're going after God. Professors are being called on the carpet, and they should be, because some of them are frauds. I'm going to tell you, academia is in trouble. And again, I don't rejoice in nobody's demise. I don't. No, sir. You can get happy if trouble come to somebody. You don't know what's coming, got your name on it. We don't know that. You know, hey, I'm telling you. We don't have but 5 minutes left. I want to thank y'all for coming. Nellie, I'm sorry. Take that ice cream out. And okay. They in the pastor's office. I get them. I didn't want y'all to get on them, and we still streaming, so you know. Folks, we gonna be for one another. And even if we hit a rough patch in trying to get to know one another the right way, let's don't start a fight. Let's don't assume the worst about each other. Just realize misunderstanding. You took it this way. Here's what I meant. And then have the decency to say, well, brother, if that's what you say, I accept that. Not, I don't believe you. Don't do that. Don't do that. We can make this thing happen. We can write in our books and track our disposable income spending. And again, it's nobody's business what you write in your book. That's between you and the one that made you. I told you, even in situations, couples, husband get one, wife get one. That way, now, if you know, y'all run your house, that ain't no secret, because some people say, hey, ain't no secrets in my house. Okay, well, I'm going to leave that alone. But I specifically wanted each individual to have one, because that's between you and the one that made you. See, he loves you. He loves us all as couples, but he loves us as individuals too. And he wants a relationship. Yes, he wants a relationship with couples, of course. But he also wants a relationship with each individual soul. And this is one way where whatever I write in here, that's between he and me. God bless you. 2 minutes. I finished early. Thank you all for coming.